golden portal, the gate of the gods. The countdown has begun. Welcome back, family. This has been a journey, and what I'm about to show is an extension of the Escape of the Bride series. I'm not going to categorize this one. We're going to leave this video self-standing because it's sort of a veer off of any of the series that I've been doing. It could end up being a series of its own because this is I believe this is our marker. This is like our finish line. Like uh, everything from this point in the celestial gate is like another storyline altogether. So I wanted to bring that forth first just to get my perspective out there based on having been watching these things for years and years and years. I have a different perspective than most when it comes to these celestial events because I've been studying this for so long and watching these things in the heavens manifest when you get to a certain point. You begin to be able to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And let me tell you, it's taken a long time to be able to get to this point where when I see things surrounding a particular point that I can connect the dots, so to speak. Because a lot of the signs that we're looking at in the heavens are actually multiple signs happening at the same time. And if we're not capable of taking a step back and viewing these things from a larger perspective, then we are stuck in a close-up view. We'll put it that way. And that close-up view doesn't give you the full story. So that's what I've been doing lately is over the last couple years, pulling my perspective back and trying to look at this as a grand storyline where everything is connected and all of the movements of all of the heavenly bodies are singing a story. And it's important to have that perspective to be able to connect all of these dots. So once I started doing that, I began to see a radically different view of the heavens. And so that's what we're going to go today. We're going to focus in on a very specific point in the heavens that I believe our ancient ancestors have been pointing to for millennia. We'll just say that. Thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. This very specific point in the heavens has been uh, memorialized by many cultures. And that memorialization of uh, these images within the heavens are actually made into artifacts that we can still see today, as in the Giza pyramids and their alignment with the belt stars of Orion that we see here on the opposite side of Taurus. Because those three belt stars align with the golden gate of the ecliptic. And they're pointing to the Pleiades and the Hyades and the Taurus constellation. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you what began to develop for me. It's important for me to be able to break this down from my perspective. And I'd love to hear from everybody on what they get out of this, because again, we're all looking at this from a slightly different perspective, and I enjoy to hear everybody's 2 cents. We'll put it that way. But what we're going to do today is we're going to focus in on this line of the golden gate of the ecliptic. And again, we're going to point out that this alignment has been placed all over the world in ancient artifacts, from Mexico to China to Egypt, you name it. This has been memorialized. And so we're going to look at it from this ancient perspective of why are all of these ancient cultures pointing out this spot in the heavens. Now, many have done decodes on why they believe this place in the heavens is important from our ancient ancestry. You have the ancient alien stories. You have um, multiple different cultures saying that they came from the stars in Orion. Many saying they came from the Pleiades. Some saying they came from the Hyades. And there are many cultural stories within the mythological manuscripts and codices that explain to us that this area of the heavens, for whatever reason, we're not here to discuss those. What we're here to do is we're here to break down what we are witnessing in the heavens in our time, that I believe is incredibly significant to us. This spot in the heavens is standing out to me. And at the time that we are in our world, with the wars and the rumors of wars and the body of believers in Messiah waiting for this great wedding and the coming of Christ to pull his body from this corrupted world. We'll just put it that way. There are signs that we should be seeing in the heavens. Excuse me, fam. And those signs lead us to looking at not only prophecy, but also the expectations of the culture, because these manifestations, we can look up in the heavens. This is not me telling you what is happening. This is me showing you what is manifesting. Now, we might all have a slightly different perspective. And again, I'd love to hear your perspective on what I'm about to show you. But this is vitally important. In the last couple videos, the escape of the bride, we've been talking about this golden gate of the ecliptic, and this line, we're going to scroll in. We're going to look at this line that Venus is on, and you can see that this line goes from the Hyades in the head of Taurus through Taurus all the way to the Pleiades star cluster. And this is in the constellation of the bull or the judge. So this is the house of judgment. And this can be seen as the temple of the judge, this golden gate of the ecliptic. And when the planets and the sun and the moon and the asteroids and the comets, when they traverse this golden gate of the ecliptic, it is a language unto its own. And so I began to see a pattern develop, and I had prophetic expectations of what should be coming next based on my understanding of Scripture. And those things that I have been expecting, I have been looking for signs of those things in the heavens, wondering, what am I missing in this grand storyline? What am I missing? And that's how I found this house of the judge with the Ceres alignment. So let's scroll in really quick. And we want to point out, for some reason, here we go. So we can see here, Venus is at what we would call the exit. This line going through Taurus to the Pleiades is actually like an exit of the golden gate of the ecliptic. This area, as we showed in the last video, there's a very specific sign within this area of Taurus. And if you compare the artifacts and the knowledge that has been shown to us and discussed from ancient cultures, it's like we're crossing a line. We're coming out of the chamber of judgment. And so here, we're going to pull up our date stamps. This is April the 26th, 2026. We're just talking about just over 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. Venus crossed this golden gate of the ecliptic. Now, I want you to look at this as a literal portal or a gate of judgment. And this can not, this, don't look at the word judgment as a negative word, because this can be like weighed in the balances. And we are finding that these heavenly bodies come into this portal area, and they have a very specific job, because these are like the heavenly angels. Each planet has a representing angel, and they have cultural significance, and they have significance in the Mazzaroth story and within mythology. And if we can take a wide view without a heart of judgment, and we can look at all of the things that we have within our base of knowledge about all of these planets, and want this wandering stars and the sun and the moon, and then you lay that perspective over with the Mazzaroth, we're getting a incredible story within this Golden Gate of the Ecliptic. And I'm going to discuss what I feel about these things, and that way everybody can get a wide angle view. Now, again, we were discussing in the last couple videos about how Ceres, we can just look at this as the angel of of marriage, and 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 that this uh, planetary body is showing us uh, that it is involved in this house of judgment, and as it enters into the house, let's go ahead and get in on Taurus. And now what we're going to do, fam, is remember, this is 4/26, 2026. Venus is the first. Now remember, Venus is the evening star right now. So she represents the feminine aspect of Messiah, which is the bride. So Venus, as the bride, is crossing the gate. And you can look at this as an entry or an exit, because of the connection of the Golden Gate of the Ecliptic to the next gate, which is just past the horns of Taurus. We can see here the Milky Way, which is called the Silver Gate. And this area is between the constellation of Taurus and Gemini on the ecliptic. And this area is what they consider the gate of the gods. And I want everybody to understand how the importance of this, what they call the gates of the gods. You can see the constellation of Taurus and the line that is drawn through the Silver Gate, because Gemini and Taurus and Orion and Auriga are all the four corners of the gate. And you can see the ecliptic line runs right through the middle. You can see Jupiter in Gemini, and you can see how the ecliptic line runs through the foot of the bride caster in through the middle of the horns. Again, I have to emphasize the horns of the judge, Taurus the bull. And as these planets and the sun and the moon cross over this golden gate of the ecliptic, it's like a warning. It's pointing out that the next section is the silver gate or the gate of the gods. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you a pattern. And to me, this pattern is not only a pattern of tribulation that's upon us, but it's the final pattern of the wedding, because certain things have to happen in order for the wedding to be complete. And we are witnessing these things in the heaven, as I've shown in the last couple videos, with Ceres and the sun and the moon aligning today in the golden gate of the ecliptic. Now remember, that's not the golden gate associated with the Milky Way that is on the complete opposite side of the heavens. This is a portal gate that has been depicted by almost all the ancient cultures that I've studied. All have this memorialized in some kind of artifact. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you the next step, and that is the order in which all of these heavenly bodies traverse through this gate, this golden gate or this golden portal, as they enter into the silver gate. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to focus back on the constellation of Taurus. And I want to point out again, this is 426. And this is the first crossing of the gate. Venus, the bride. Now we're going to go forward and we're going to watch as Ceres on 5/11, just a couple days ago, family, Ceres entered into the house of judgment. Okay, keep your eye on Venus and the sun and Mercury. Let's keep our eyes on how this all happens within the house of the judge. Okay, here we are. And we're going to scroll in and we're going to focus in right here as the sun and Mercury conjunct and enter into the house of judgment on 5/14/26, the same day that Israel became a nation in its current place. Let's focus in again on Taurus. We still have Venus in the house. And now we have Mercury, the messenger. And remember, when we're looking at this from a perspective of the wedding, Mercury is the 88 code. Mercury has an 88-day orbit. And on this day, let's just go ahead and do this. On this day, the sun and the messenger, the 88, align together in the golden gate of the ecliptic. This is the entrance right here. They're entering in with the wedding judge, Saris. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pull back. And again, this is on 5/14. And then we have today. Let's go ahead and focus in. We are looking at the moon. All right. So we're looking at today at approximately 1. Let's just go ahead and scroll in. And remember, these we're just going to call it about 1:30, fam. About 1:30 in the afternoon Pacific Standard Time, which means we are coming up in a couple hours. In a couple hours today, family, the bride enters the house of the judge with the bridegroom and the judge of the marriage and the best man, Mercury, the 88 code, and the father or the heaven sign, Uranus. And look on the opposite side of the house, you see Venus in the silver gate. And this is one of the most important signs that we're looking at. But Venus is still the only heavenly body or angel that has crossed the gate. Now remember, it's the evening star, the bride. Okay, so now let's watch as we traverse. Now we have Mercury, the messenger, the best man, the 88 code, and Mercury lines up with the gate. We'll just call it the 1500 hour. This is 3 p.m. on the 18th. The messenger, the 88 code. crosses the portal line, the golden portal, the messenger, Mercury, number 2. Remember, Mercury can also be seen as the witness, because as the best man, he's been there in all of our wedding signs, even going back to 2025 when the sun and the moon and Ceres were in the constellation of Capricorn. If you've been following me, you remember that sign where I believe the wedding all began. The story of the wedding could not take place until Ceres made its alignment in the house. And we know Mercury, the best man, the 88, the witness, was there. And now we're looking at 518 in 2 days. Mercury will exit the golden portal and enter into the area of the horns of Taurus. Now, again, let's pull back and let's focus in on Taurus because I want you to see this. We're on the 18th, and I posted this in the community section, but I want to make sure everybody sees this transition. I think it's here. And let's take a look here. I think it's 1 more hour. All right. So what we're witnessing right here on 518 at the 1900 hour Pacific, 7 p.m., just before sunset. Let's go do that really quick. I want everybody to witness this. Okay, this is just before sunset. And we have our line of the ecliptic, and we can see that it's still daytime. So let's realign this and let's go forward 1 hour. We can see that the sun is just about to set, and now we have the sun setting, and we can look up, and the moon is now crossing the line of the house of Taurus. And if you notice this spot in the heavens, I'm going to quickly turn landscape and this off. If you notice this spot in the heavens, this is a Riga, and the moon is right in the hand of the shepherd or the charioteer. And you could look at the fiery chariot of Ezekiel is what I believe is a story regarding the Silver Gate and the escape within the Silver Gate, and how Ariga is. There are multiple tales within mythology where Ariga is literally riding Taurus And this has been mythologized in multiple different ways. But this area, because Auriga can be seen as the charioteer and Taurus as the fiery chariot, we can see how the moon, the bride, is right in the hand of the charioteer. And if we scroll back slightly, we can see that in the hand of the charioteer is this whip-like um, if you go do your research in the Mazzaroth, you'll see that this has been um, mythologized as like the tool that the charioteer uses to guide the chariot. And some have displayed this as a whip or a like what they use to guide the steer as it's plowing. But this can also be seen as a guide, a how do I put this? It's like a tool of guidance, similar to um, some of the other constellations that are measuring tools and like stellar alignment tools. This is a tool that can be looked at as uh, uh, pointing us to a very specific point in the heavens. Forgive me for getting confused. My head's not all the way there, but you can see at this exact time the moon is directly on the line at the 2100 hour, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 18th. The moon then crosses into the Gemini constellation. So you can see the bride aligning with the evening star, which is also the bride, the feminine aspect of Christ. And both of them are on the edge of the Silver Gate, and both of them are about to enter into Gemini. Let's just do this really quick and show this in detail. So here we have the moon, and let's watch. And now we're looking at the 0 hour. The moon is in the gate. Still, she's in the Silver Gate. We can scroll back and we can see that the moon is still in the Silver Gate, or what we call the Milky Way. And Venus is still in transition. So if we go, I think it's 3 or 4. We're just going to go to 4. And now we see Venus entering into the house of Gemini with the bride, and they're in Castor, also the bride, and Jupiter is in the bridegroom. The king is representing Pollux, the bridegroom, and the queen is representing the bride, Castor. And now on the 18th, on the 19th, in the early morning before sunrise, Venus is transitioning into the house of the bride and the bridegroom. And this is very important as we move through these signs. I want everybody to pay attention. I know I'm taking a long time to explain this in detail, but I want everybody to focus on what's going on here. The pattern. Now we have the bride and the feminine aspect of Messiah. This can be also seen as uh, Christ called out ones entering into the house with the bride and the king. The called out. They're called out of the house of judgment. And this is very special because what we are about to witness, as we know, on this same day, the day before, Mercury, the messenger, has crossed the gate. And I'm looking at this as we have a couple of these heavenly bodies that we know are directly involved in our wedding. And then we have the others that we should be looking at as angels of judgment. And we're going to get to that as we progress. But I want everybody to continue to watch these patterns because on the 19th, Venus is out of the house of judgment. Okay, so the 19th, not only is Venus out of the house of judgment, but the messenger, the best man, the 88, is crossed through the portal. All right, now we're making sure we're focused on Taurus. Now we're on the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th. Now let's focus on the bridegroom. Okay, fam. Here we are. We're going to watch this transition. 524. The sun is now the next to cross the gate and exit the portal. Now we have 5:25, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have the bridegroom. In the golden portal. The bridegroom has not even crossed out of the portal until 5:24. And now we're looking at 5:25 in the AM, right before sunrise, or we can even say this is sunrise. Let's do that. I didn't look at that. Wow. Okay. You can't make this up. I did not. I hadn't even looked at this, fam. Let's just go back. Okay. I had not looked at this. So you're witnessing This is the constellation of Taurus with the Pleiades rising at 5:30 a.m. in the east. Then we have the rising of Uranus and Ceres. Then the bridegroom rises we'll just say at 6 a.m. The bridegroom arises on the 25th. And I had not looked at this. This is incredible to me that I had not looked at this. But we can now see this sign of the bridegroom on the 25th at sunrise, rising in the golden portal. And this is, to me, an important part of the wedding signs. Okay, now let's click out of the landscape and let's get back to the house of Taurus. And I want everybody to witness. We're going to take one step back because I have one other sign I want to point out on the 24th. And let's go here really quick. Now remember, Mercury is our messenger. And we're just going to call it the 0 hour before the sun enters into the golden portal. The best man blows the horn, the trumpet, on 5/24/2026. The 88 blows the trumpet, for the bridegroom is coming into the golden portal. Okay. I hope everybody is as excited about these signs as I am. This is incredible heavenly language. We have the messenger, the best man, the witness is blowing the horn or the trumpet, or he is calling out that the bridegroom, the sun, is about to cross the golden portal. And now we have the sun on the 25th being our next one to cross the golden portal. All right. Now let's keep our eyes peeled on our next one to cross. Now we're leaving out asteroids and comets in this video because it would end up being far too long, and I'm already probably going to go over an hour to make sure I get all this in. So I have to leave out the comets and the asteroids. I might come back and do a part 2 of this to bring back the asteroids and all the other stuff. I'm still so far behind on. I have so much more to bring forth in the other video series, but I had to bring this forward now because um, it's all lining up. And if I get too far backed up, I it won't be timely. We'll just say that. So here we're looking at the next to cross is Ceres. And I want everybody to pay attention to what we're witnessing here in the house of Taurus. The sun or the bridegroom is right between the horns. The judge of the wedding, Ceres, is in the golden portal, and so is the bride, the moon, in the house, or what you would call a chamber, with the seven sisters or the seven churches. And this is happening on 6/13. You have Ceres and the moon or the bride aligning in the golden portal. And again, if we connect all the dots, the sun is waiting between the horns, right at the edge of the silver gate, the gate of the gods. Okay, now we're going to refocus on Taurus, and we're going to continue to watch let's back it up here. I wanted to show this sign first. Back this up to right here. Okay, so I want everybody to witness this sign in the heavens here. Okay, so in between the horns of Taurus on the edge of the silver gate, we have the alignment of the bridegroom and the bride on June the 14th. I believe this is Donald Trump's birthday. This is the alignment of the bridegroom and the bride at the gate of the gods. And you have Zeta Tauri and Elnoth, and these two stars are like the entrance into the four corner region where Auriga, Gemini, Orion, and Taurus all come together. This is called the Silver Gate or the Gate of the Gods. And we're going to watch. Let's go ahead and focus back on Taurus. And we're going to watch this transition. Sorry, fam. I have to do this from a little bit further away just so we can see this. Okay, so we're going to say 5 a.m. on the 15th of June. We have the moon crossing from Taurus into Gemini. And again, remember, Gemini is the bride and the bridegroom, and it's where the king is awaiting. So we're in the house of the judge, and the bridegroom is seated between the horns of the judge. And the bride is moving out of the house of judgment into the bride and bridegroom. And again, let's take a step back. I want to show one more sign. Let's go back because this is important to me. I want you to watch this. This is June the 7th. Mercury is directly aligned here in Gemini with the caster or bride. And if you witness this location, it's like the womb. The messenger, the 88, is pointing out the womb of this figure. Now, remember, in our storyline, Castor is the bride, Pollux is the bridegroom, and Mercury is making its alignment with the bride, and we have Venus still, again, remember, Venus is the evening star when it's on the left side of the sun, and Venus is now coming into alignment with the king. And I just wanted to point that out as we begin to, we got to go back to the house of Taurus. And we're going to scroll back. Forgive me, fam. It's difficult to do this. I want you to watch again. Let's watch the sun and the moon traverse. Now we have the 15th. The bride is in this house now with Jupiter and Mercury, and Venus enters Cancer. Let's go back one day. Let's see. So Venus enters Cancer on the 11th of June. And Mercury, the 88, the messenger, is splitting right. It's basically pointing out both the bride and the bridegroom as the sun is still between the horns of the judge. And we still have more of our angels, our planets, which are we're talking about these heavenly bodies as angels that are crossing this portal, and they're all involved in this wedding story. So we have Venus, who was our first cross, Then Mercury was our second cross. Then the sun was our third cross. Ceres was our fourth cross. And that all happens by the 13th here with Ceres crossing the golden portal. So let's go back to Taurus, and we still have Mars, the warrior angel. And it wouldn't that be fitting that Mars is like the final guardian because he's the warrior. He's the one holding up the ranks. He's the one making sure that none of the other angels get to cross into this gate with the rest of the wedding subjects. So remember, we talk about there's very specific planets that were involved in this heavenly story of the wedding in the house of Capricorn. And now we're getting all of those heavenly bodies back here in the house of Taurus, transitioning through this golden portal. So now let's focus in on Mars. And I want everybody to witness this. We're going to go back over here and we're going to point out that Mars, I think I can come back. Hey, okay, so Mars on the 19th of June, 2026, Mars enters the warrior planet, does not even enter into the golden gate of the ecliptic until June the 19th, family. And then let's move forward. And I want everyone to witness this amazing sign. I'm going to go ahead and get off of. Oh, I got to go back. I got to go back. I got to go back. Hold on a second. I almost forgot. Okay. Keep your eyes on Ceres. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. This is the wedding judge aligning with Ayin. This is the horn star of Taurus, along with Aldebaran. These are the two horn stars besides the gate horn stars, Zeta Tauri and Elnath. These are the two stars that point out the head of the bull Taurus. And if we scroll back, people call these the eye stars because they align in the head of Taurus with the eyes. And some say that this area of Taurus that we're showing here between Aldebaran, this triangular area is the head, and then the horns begin there. But if you look at the artwork, these are actually aligned closer with the eyes of the bull. And so we could call this a bullseye. And this is the judge of the wedding, aligning with the bull's eye. 6/19/2026. And I wanted to make sure I point that out because this is happening at the exact same time that Mars is entering the gate. This is the judge at the bullseye. All right, folks. Let's keep our eyes focused on Mars. And I want everybody to witness this. We can also look at it's bringing up 78p Garrels, which I will be doing a deep dive into that probably on its own because we're already over an hour. But Garrels is heavily involved in this gate sign. 78p Garrels crossing the golden portal right before the 4th of July, family. And if we scroll on back, fam, we're looking at Mars on the 4th of July. This lines with iPet Goat 2. Remember, Mars is the red planet of war. This is 4th of July, fam. Mars crosses the golden portal with 78 P. Garrels. 7/4/2026. We are looking at Independence Day. And what do you know? The sun is right in between the bride and the bridegroom. And Mars has finally crossed the gate. And now we're going to be looking at, let's just do this. I want to show everybody these last couple signs. And now we're focusing in on Uranus. And this is the planet Uranus with its moons and Titania has crossed the golden portal. And Miranda has crossed the golden portal. And Ariel has crossed the golden portal. And Umbriel has crossed the golden portal. This is all happening with the planet Uranus. Oberon. And who else is in this mix? I believe that's it. We have Uranus and all of its heavenly bodies now in the golden portal. And we're looking at July the 8th, 2026. Remember, Uranus can represent the Father. It can also represent heaven. And it can also represent the first seed. And that can be looked at in many different ways, but we're looking at the final piece of the puzzle, because if Uranus is looked at as the father, remember, was right there at the wedding in the house of the judge, waiting for everyone to show up in his house. The heavenly judge over all of the other judges, including the judge of the wedding, Ceres. And isn't it fitting that the warrior planet, Mars, is waited for by the heavenly Father as it crosses into the gate? Then the father figure crosses into the portal, the last. And if you look at it, the first in the house of Taurus. So now we have one more final look, and it's a sign that I just found as I was finishing all of this work. I stumbled upon this at the very end of these signs. July the 9th, you have Venus, again, still as the evening star. You could look at this as the called out ones, aligning with Regulus, the king star in the house of Leo. And there's more to this story, but we're already an hour and 12 minutes in, so I'm going to bring it on back. Thank you for coming. And again, please give us a thumbs up if you thought that this was edifying, and please give us your perspective on these signs in the heaven. Much love. We'll see you back here very soon.